In the remote village of Black Hollow, an oppressive shroud of unease lingered. The village, cradled by dense woods, had succumbed to a mysterious plague that claimed lives with an eerie silence. Those who fell ill vanished, leaving no trace but whispered fears. Elena, a young woman with a fiercely curious spirit, refused to accept the unknown. Her brother had been taken by the plague just a week prior, his sudden disappearance gnawing at her soul. Driven by grief and determination, she ventured into the forest one fateful night, seeking answers where others dared not tread. The moon cast a spectral glow over the landscape, illuminating gnarled branches that twisted like skeletal fingers. The forest seemed alive with shadows that moved just beyond her vision. As Elena pushed deeper, an unsettling stillness enveloped her, a silence that pressed against her eardrums. After what felt like an eternity, she stumbled upon an ancient, decrepit church, its stone facade overrun with ivy. The sight of it bathed in moonlight sent a shiver down her spine. She pushed open the heavy wooden door, which groaned in protest, and stepped inside. The air was thick with the scent of decay, and a heavy silence settled around her. Dust motes danced in the beam of her flashlight as she moved through the nave, past the rows of pews that stood like sentinels. An old, tarnished crucifix hung above the altar, its presence both solemn and foreboding. On the floor, a trail of dark, dried blood led to a door at the back of the church. Her heart pounding, Elena followed it. The door creaked open to reveal a staircase descending into darkness. She hesitated, the chill of the crypt below seeping into her bones. With steely resolve, she descended, each step echoing in the confined space. The air grew colder, carrying the unmistakable scent of death. The crypt was a labyrinth of shadows, her flashlight barely penetrating the gloom. Coffins, some ajar, revealed the skeletal remains of those long dead. As she ventured deeper, a faint moan reached her ears, a sound that made her blood run cold. As she followed it, her pulse quickened with each step. A small, dimly lit chamber, she saw a figure hunched in the corner. It was a man, his clothes in tatters, and his skin sickly. His eyes were vacant, yet they seemed to track her every move. Elena caught her breath in her throat. This was no man. This was something else. Something beyond death. Before she could react, the figure lunged with a speed that belied its appearance. She stumbled backwards, narrowly avoiding its grasp. The creature's mouth opened in a grotesque grin, revealing teeth blackened with decay. Her flashlight fell from her hand, plunging the chamber into darkness. Panic surged through her as she scrambled to retrieve the flashlight. More moans echoed through the crypt, a chorus of the damned. Her flashlight flickered back to life, illuminating the lifeless eyes of several more figures emerging from the shadows. Elena ran, her mind in a whirl of terror. She reached the staircase, her breath ragged and her heart pounding. She bolted up the steps, pursued by the relentless dead. Bursting out of the church, she fled into the woods, the cold night air biting at her skin, but the moans grew louder, closer. The realization hit her like a blow. The plague was a curse, reanimating the dead into mindless, flesh-hungry monsters. The villagers who had vanished were now these soulless abominations. Her lungs burned, her legs ached, but she pushed on. The lights of the village flicker in the distance like a dying hope. Just as she thought she might make it, she tripped over a gnarled root and fell hard. Pain shot through her, but she forced herself up only to see the creatures closing in. Cold, decaying hands grasped at her as she screamed, a sound swallowed by the night. She fought desperately, but the horde was relentless. The last thing she saw in that moonlit sky and the last sensation was their teeth tearing into her flesh. The villagers found her ravaged body in the forest's edge the next morning, a grim testament to the horrors that lurked in the woods. They buried her in the village cemetery, another lost soul to the curse of Black Hollow. But the plague persisted, spreading its darkness. The village fell into despair, its once vibrant life extinguished. The legend of Black Hollow grew, a cautionary tale of undead that roamed the cursed woods, always hungry for the living. In Black Hollow, the dead did not rest, and those who ventured into the forest never returned, leaving behind only whispers and shadows of terror that would never die.